Hello, my crafty friends. Well, today we are going to continue playing around with different card designing techniques. And I have 3 different Christmas card ideas that I want to share with you today. Hi, it's Lynn Dunn from Stamptastic Designs. Thanks so much for joining me. In this episode of Stamptastic TV, I have 3 different Christmas card ideas that I want to share with you that feature the stepping up technique. So I'm going to continue to just share this technique with you just as a reminder that you can use some of your favorite layouts, some of those simple card layouts, over and over again just by stepping them up a little bit to create additional cards that give the original card a whole new look. Now, the cards in this video feature the Sweet Candy Cane stamp set from Stampin Up. And I will also be using some of the candy cane dies in this particular bundle just to create some of the accent pieces on the card. And I will also be using the Christmas banner stamp set from Stampin Up. So these 2 stamp sets coordinate so well together, and they're part of the Sweetest Christmas Suite from Stampin Up. So we'll be using the stamp set, and I'll be using some of the dies in this set to cut out the greetings and add other types of embellishments to the cards. However, keep in mind that you can use these card layouts with any supplies that you have on hand. Just get creative with it. Okay, so let's talk about the first card. So this first card idea was actually the inspiration for the other 2 cards that I'm going to share with you today. So this is the basic design that I went with when I started creating with this particular set. And we're going to take this design and we're going to carry it over into the other 2 cards. So let me show you how to make this one. So we're going to start out with a piece of white cardstock for the base of our card. And so this piece is cut at 5.5 by 8.5, and it's scored in the middle at 4.25 inches to create the base of our card. So the next thing I did is just kind of create this background piece. Now this background piece is just a 4 by 5.25 inch piece of garden green cardstock. So basically what I did is I just used this die, which is part of the Sweet Candy Canes bundle. And I just laid this on top of my green cardstock and ran it through my embossing machine. And then it creates this fun little die cut background. So you can add an adhesive sheet to your cardstock to make this already sticky, or you can glue this on with some liquid glue. So whatever is easier for you, or whatever your preference is, that's what I would recommend. So for now, I'll just kind of show you what I did. I just kind of went around and added some liquid glue to all of the different parts of this particular die cut. And I didn't add a lot, just enough to get it to stick. And then once I had my liquid glue on there, then I just went ahead and adhered it to my card front. So the nice thing about the liquid glue is you can kind of scoot this around to get it to where you want it. So the next thing I did is I just cut a 3 by 4 inch piece of vellum. So I'm going to just go ahead and adhere this right in the center here. And I like using vellum just because it kind of mutes the background a little bit. And all of our pieces will cover up, you know, the glue marks that you see there, so you don't have to worry about that. The next thing I did is just cut a 2 by 4 inch piece of designer paper. So I'm using some of the designer paper from the Sweetest Christmas Suite. And I'm just going to go ahead and adhere this right across the center. Then I just cut a 3-inch circle using the Stylish Shapes dies. And I'm just going to adhere this right to the center of our card. And so this is where we're going to create our focal point. So the next thing I did is just cut out one of the candy cane shapes from the designer paper. So the cool thing about this bundle is that there's different candy cane dies, and they work really well with the shapes that are in this particular designer paper. You can also stamp your candy canes and cut them out with the dies. So either way is fine, but I just decided to use some of the candy canes from the DSP. So what I'm going to do is just kind of leave my candy cane in the center here, which is where I want it. And I'm just going to adhere different pieces, different little die cut shapes that I created from using some of the dies in both of these sets. So I'm using some Pool Party cardstock for this particular die cut piece. And then I just have this little garden green die cut piece. And so the really nice thing about this bundle is that there's just a variety of different pieces that you can create in whatever color you want. And then you can just add them to your card just to add a little bit of depth and dimension. And what I want to show you now, I'm just going to move this out of the way. So there's a little die cut in the bundle where you can create this little branch with the little holly berries on it. So I just want to show you a great way to adhere them. So basically what I did is I picked up each of these little holly berries and I added them to my glue dot roll here. So you just stick one on each of the glue dots. So it's a little bit putsy to put together, but once I show you this, you'll see how easy it is to create this little branch of holly berries. So we'll just add all of those. And now I'm going to use my Take Your Pick tool, and you can see it's got a lot of glue on it on the end here. But I'm just going to pick these up using this end, and then I'm just going to add them to the branches. So there's one. And you just need to get under them a little bit just to get that glue dot up, and then just add them to the branch. Here's the other one. And here's the last one. So we'll just kind of scoot this up off the table. So once you do this, you already have the glue dots on the back of each of your little berries here. Now we can bring back our card. And this will be all set to go to put in there. But before I do that, I want to adhere my candy cane. And so we'll just angle this a little bit here. And I'm going to go ahead and add my little banner. So I just have this popped up with dimensionals. And then I can take this little stick of these holly berries and just kind of slide it in here. And it's already got little glue dots on it, so I can just push it down to create my little focal point. So it's just I found it to be an easier way to try to add all those little dots to that little twig. So whatever works for you. Okay, and then for the finishing touch, we're just going to add some of these holiday sequins. And that's it. That's the basic design that we're going to use for the other two cards. Okay, let's talk about card number 2. So it's basically the same design, except for you might notice that I have some color in the background here behind that die cut piece. And then I just changed out my candy cane to one that wasn't two-toned. So this is just Sweet Sorbet actually is the color I used to stamp the candy cane. So let me show you how to make this one. So we're just really going to be stepping this up just a little bit. We're going to start with a piece of white cardstock for the base of our card. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a piece of designer paper and I'm going to put it behind this die cut shape. So the die cut is set up for us to use the designer paper in this way. So it's just a great way to add some color behind whatever paper you use, you know, to cut out your die cut image here. So I'm going to show you how to do this. What I did is I just added some adhesive sheets to the back. So to the back of my cardstock, I added a big adhesive sheet. And the adhesive sheets are really nice. You just peel them off and you stick them to your cardstock. And then I ran this through my embossing machine and just, you know, with that die. And it cuts out the adhesive on the back here. So I can just peel this off. And then I have adhesive already on my cardstock, my die cut shape. So I really like the adhesive sheets. You can find them in the Stampin' Up! Annual Catalog. They're just a really nice way to add adhesive to your die cut images without having to, you know, use the liquid glue. So then you just take this and you just kind of line it up. So you just kind of line it up with the images that are on your designer paper. So I just cut a 4 by 5 1/4 inch piece of designer paper, and that's what I used behind here. And then all I have to do is just kind of trim this off with my scissors. So it's a really easy way to add some color behind your die cut image. Okay, so now I have it all trimmed up. We are ready to add it to our card front. So I'm just going to add some liquid glue on the back here, and then we'll add this in our background. Next, I'm just going to add the same size pattern paper. So this is just 2 by 4. It's the exact same one I used on the first card. And I'm still using my 3 by 4 inch piece of vellum. So I find the vellum to be very useful for this particular card because it mutes that background because you have a lot of busy patterns going on. So the vellum is very helpful for that. It just kind of mutes it out so it doesn't overwhelm your focal point, which we are going to add now. So this is just my 3-inch circle shape. And then this time I'm going to add my die cut pieces kind of off to the side here. So again, very simple, and it's just an easy way to step up this card. So let me bring back the other card, and you can see how they look. So it's the exact same design that I'm using. I just added a few more elements, some designer paper in the background, and it just gives the card a whole new look. Okay, so the last card idea that I have to share with you is a very stepped up version. So I added quite a few more elements to this card. I also changed the orientation of the card. So I went from portrait style to landscape style, but I'm still using the same elements as the other cards with just a few modifications. So let me show you how to make this one. So we're going to start out with a piece of white cardstock for the base of our card again. And this time I cut out 2 of the elements, 2 of those die cut shapes that I used in the background here. So instead of just using 1, we are going to use 2, and I'm going to overlay them together to create this fun little pattern. So you can see they're the exact same die, but if I just flip one over, it creates kind of this lattice type image. So I was really inspired to play around with this because of one of the samples in the new holiday catalog. So that's where I came up with it. So we're going to adhere this piece first. So we'll lay this one down first. And then we're going to take this other piece and we are going to overlay it. So the next thing I did is just cut a 2 by 4 inch piece of pattern paper. So this is the same size that I used on the other cards. And instead of using a full sheet of vellum, I just used a little scrap piece that's 3 inches long. So I'm going to adhere this to the top part of my designer paper here. So we'll just kind of tuck that on there. And then we will go ahead and adhere this whole piece. And we'll just do it right off the right side of the card. And then of course we're using the same 3-inch circle shape, so we're going to add this right here. And then I have my little candy cane, so I just kind of use that as a guide to add some of my other pieces. So I'm going to add my little die cut shapes. And that's it. So you can see I just added a variety of different elements here, added that fun little background, and just changed the orientation of the card, and I completely changed the look of the card by doing that. But it's the same basic concept for the design. Okay, so there you go. Now you have 3 different Christmas card ideas that you can use to create cards with the Sweet Candy Canes bundle or any other supplies that you have on hand. and you have some simple ways to step up your cards. So if you enjoyed these card ideas, feel free to download the printable tutorial. You can find the link in the description below this video. Thanks so much for joining me today. If you enjoyed this video, please let me know by liking it and sharing it with your friends. And leave me a comment below to let me know what you enjoyed most about the video and the cards shared here today. Have a fun and creative day, my friends. Take care.